John Galt here. Can you ask the girls if a guy owning a gun is a positive deal breaker or neutral? This came in earlier, but I wanted to come back to it. So, gun ownership. I guess would you date a guy who owns a gun? Let's start with you over here, and we'll go around.
I have dated a guy that owns a gun, but he told me that like midway into our relationship, and he didn't really tell me if it's like, I don't know, I have certain feelings about it. I feel like if you're keeping it in a safe space, then I guess, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of not needed, but I don't know.
Not needed. Okay, well, I'll come back to that, but we'll go around the table. What about you?
I agree with her. I don't think it's needed, and I personally wouldn't date anyone who owns a gun.
Okay, what about you?
I feel pretty neutral about that topic. I don't think it like defines them as a person, at least from what I know. I mean, there could be more to know, but I don't think it affects it.
Okay.
I agree with you. I don't think that like it affects who you are as a person. I'm a gun owner. My husband's a gun owner. Most of our friends are gun owners. They're great people for protection.
Sure.
You never know what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on it.
So you would date a guy
if he had
like you're neutral.
Yeah,
you wouldn't
if he
care.
had,
like
yeah.
you would date a guy. It's not really a factor for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really think it's needed either, but it's not necessarily like a complete deal breaker, but I prefer not.
Preferred heat. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. What about you?
I mean, I'm from the South. I mean, everyone has guns. I have a gun.
Oh.
It's normal.
You have a gun here in California?
Not here.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
mean,
but back home.
Yeah. I mean, the laws are really lenient there. I mean,
Yeah.
they should be strict, like, regardless, but, like, I wouldn't have an issue if a guy owned a gun.
Okay. What about you?
I'd probably prefer if a guy at least had a gun. I mean, things happen all the time, you know, just for protection purposes. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So you kind of sounds like prefer not to have a gun. Okay, gotcha. So question, let's say you're living with your boyfriend and 3 men are trying to break into your home. Let's say you're even married to this guy. You have 2 young children. You and your husband, you're living together, 2 young children, 3 men, don't know them, break into your house middle of the night. In that situation, like, would you prefer your man to have a gun or to not have a gun?
I think we have to take into consideration like our age. Like, we're dating guys that are 20 and 21. Like, we don't really know if like they're storing a gun right. They're like using it for the right, like having it.
I mean,
for,
you could
like,
be 20, 21 and be capable in your gun ownership. And
I guess I just think that like if I was just like talking to someone or casually dating someone and like I go over to their place and like I don't really know them that well, like I don't know if I'd be that comfortable with it.
Well, okay, so you'd be uncomfortable, and you'd be uncomfortable with the guy owning a gun, but in the scenario that I
Like
provided,
I'm married to them, like we're older.
I mean, here, okay, since maybe that's here, I'll change the scenario. You're still the same age you are. You've been dating a guy for a year. You guys are cohabitating, living together. He's around your age. There's 3 men trying to break into your house. Would you want your boyfriend to have a firearm?
Just personally where I was raised and grown up, I'm not comfortable with guns. That's just me.
Okay, what about you?
I agree. I don't know anyone who personally owns a gun, and I don't have family members or friends or anything, so I don't really have a personal opinion about it. So I don't think I would prefer someone to have a gun.
Okay.
I'm with them on that.
Into that.
I'm with them.
So, but even in the scenario that I just described, so what would you want your boyfriend, like, okay, there's an option to have the gun, and then there's what would you want him to do in that situation? Would you prefer
There's
him?
Knives.
Knives?
No. Against 3 guys? No.
But what would you prefer in
like
that situation?
if we were protected or killed?
Like, well, okay, there's 3 men breaking into your house. You don't know what they're trying to do. Maybe they're just trying to steal something, maybe more. In that situation, would you want your boyfriend to have a firearm?
If it's like versus I die, we both die, or we're like we live because he has a gun, then I guess. But I I'm just not comfortable with guns. That's just
I am
it.
exactly.
Like,
that's exactly how I feel. About
Obviously,
it.
I don't want to die.
Yeah.
Why aren't you guys comfortable with guns? Is it just because you don't have a lot of education on gun use and gun storage and
There's just
all
been
that, or
so many issues like in the. I mean, you all know like.
I've
been
had
so
it.
many-
I've had a gun pointed at me.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't use them responsibly, and it depends.
Okay.
There's been so many problems.
Do you want to respond to it?
I agree.
The scenario?
I agree with them.
So, okay, so to be clear, in the scenario, you'd prefer your boyfriend to defend you with his hands against 3 intruders?
I mean, it's hard to like speak on that situation, like living or die. Like it's such a like I don't
But
Like,
okay.
obviously, we don't
yeah.
wanna
Obviously, we don't want to die, but like
But
at the same time,
the
like
point, sure, the point
I-
I'm trying
I
to
get
make
it.
though, the point I'm trying to make though, in the situation that I just described, you would die if he didn't have a firearm. Because I don't care, like,
It's just a
3
hypothetical question.
Yeah.
but
But
three
it could-
but 3 versus 1, your boyfriend or yourself are not going to be capable of defending against 3 intruders.
then
So you don't know what they're coming in there for.
Yeah, probably not. Like, probably
But
they wouldn't be able to protect
maybe they're
themselves.
deranged fucks that want to take advantage of you and maybe are gonna murder you.
I just am not comfortable with guns, but in that moment, I would probably
But
be like,
you don't get to decide in the moment in a self-defense situation. You can't just magically manifest a gun to come into your possession. So wouldn't you rather, in a self-defense scenario that I just described, and there's actually like the home invasions are, there's million, I don't want to misquote here. There's a lot in the United States every single year. Wouldn't you want your partner in that, like in a self-defense situation, to have a firearm?
I
Just saying.
guess.
Have I convinced you?
I mean,
in only that situation and no
Only
other.
that-
Like
but in order for him to be in that situation, he just has to outright have gun ownership all the time. At least in the
if
household.
he's like a mentally stable dude and it.
Maybe you should date
Yeah.
mentally stable
Yeah.
dudes. I know it's your type. Sophie, that you just... It's okay. We got to talk about type here. Well, what about you two guys? I mean...
I don't know.
Me?
Let me ask, like, do you think that self-defense is a valid reason for somebody wanting to own a firearm?
Robin has donated $99. Brian, the right answer to this question is to ask nicely for them to leave. I'm sure people entering your house uninvited are very logical and will obey the law and respect your
He
wishes.
spent $99 to say that.
Say that.
Based. Yo, Robin, that's true. That's true. I guess my whole view is that when it comes to self-defense, like, because here's the reality, right? Let's say you're in that situation, and I hope it never happens to anybody at this table. But let's say you're in that situation. I guarantee it, like, in that moment, all your politics when it comes to firearm ownership will go out the window when you're in the process of being victimized in one way or the other.
You're probably right.
Like, you would want a firearm in that situation 100% of the time.
I wouldn't necessarily like not be with someone because they own a gun.
Yeah.
But you said you would
just
be
saying
uncomfortable.
I'm just not like I wouldn't be with someone and be like, we need to get a gun. Like, I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm not
yeah.
like, I'm not like, this is a mandatory thing that we need. I'm just not comfortable with it. It's just that's
But
just
what do you think would be the solution to, like, let's say there's a home invasion, what do you do if you don't have a firearm?
Call 911 and hide.
Okay, so then they arrive 10 minutes later after you've already been victimized. So the great
Not if
thing
you're
about
really
the
good at
police,
hiding.
here's the thing with police, right? And police, in some instances, can stop crimes from occurring, and obviously we need a police force for deterrent factors.
Mm-hmm.
However, and this might be surprising, most of the time police investigate crimes after they've already occurred. So
Right.
their job isn't necessarily to prevent crime, to prevent you from being victimized. Now, their mere presence does stop crime from happening, but what's the average police response time in this country? It's, I don't know what it is, 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. So What if you don't even get to the phone by then? Sometimes you might not get to the phone. So in that time period, you've been victimized. Maybe they just steal something. Maybe they do something far worse, especially if you have kids. That's another component. So, word.
I mean, I've heard of stories where kids have gotten hold of the guns and
Yeah.
bad things have happened.
but that's
where
so-
safety comes.
Or the
Yeah,
person
exactly.
breaking in
And
takes your
regulations.
guns.
Again, that's properly storing the firearm, educating your children. This is a no.
Lock it.
Lock it. Literally, there are gun safes.
Yeah,
Like,
I have one.
just-
That's what you do. You don't want anybody going
No.
near that.
that's
Word. But when it comes to calling the police, just be aware, like, if you can even get to the phone in time to call them, they're probably not going to arrive 5-10 minutes. And so they're not going to be able to prevent, I mean, they can maybe catch the guys that victimized you, but I would think the better move would be to just be capable of defending yourself to begin with. Let's get a couple chats in. We have Bender the Offender. By the way, Bender the Offender, can you send me a DM on IG? Fun fact, the word obey was in wedding vows until the year 1928 and was replaced with the words to love and cherish. Interesting. Very interesting. I guess they took it out. Thank you, Bender the Offender. We have John Galt here. Respect to the Feminist Studies girl for coming onto the show and being open-minded. It's good to get some different perspectives on the panel. Okay. Yeah, thank you for coming. John Smith here. Oh, we have one coming in from Grid Motorsports. It's coming in just a sec here. Nick, if you can pull up really quick Twitch. It's probably going to interrupt. The TTS is about to. We'll come back to it.
Grid 1 Motorsports donated $100. Rule number 1 of gun safety: carry one. Rule 2: thou shalt carry with one in the chamber. My job as a man is to be ready to protect my woman, others that cannot protect themselves, and if possible, myself. I teach firearms safety to kids. Learn early.
Yo, Grid 1 Motorsports. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think that's good. Congrats. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for all your support tonight, man. You've been sending through a whole bunch of chats, man, so your patronage is greatly appreciated. Guys, go to twitch.tv/whatever. Drop us a follow. Drop us a Prime sub. Robin, thank you for the 10. I don't know if I mentioned that, but thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Zen, thank you for the Prime. Love, thank you for the Prime. Wifey, thank you for the Prime. Chris, thank you for the Prime. Playa, thank you for the Prime. Bucket, thank you for the Prime. Leviathan, thank you for the Prime. Loin, thank you for the Prime, guys. Appreciate it. Twitch.tv/whatever. Drop us a follow. Drop us a Prime sub.
Mize
Thank you,
donated
Mize. Appreciate it.
$99. I'd argue it's way more humane to shoot a home invader than beat them to death with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Word. Yeah. But I mean, if there's 3 of you and your wife or girlfriend or whatever.
Why would you want it to be humane if they're a home invade like that? They're already.
Well, no, I don't think you need. I think he's just making.
True.
Okay, yeah.
They're there to like terrorize you and do horrible shit. Like, why would you want to be like, okay, like, I'll make this nice and quick for you? Like, no, I'd want to like.
I'm sure you wouldn't mind doing either, but like one's gonna be easier.
Right.